What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner, and today we're talking about ARs. I know it's a popular topic and we talk about it a lot, but I get asked questions a lot, and I figured this could be kind of a response to a question I got on Instagram from Max. We were talking about it a little bit. He got a BCM 14.5 and was debating getting rid of the upper for an 11.5, and I gave my thoughts on it. I think 14.5 is a great AR, especially if it's your first AR. He said he doesn't want to have a bunch lying around, so I get that completely. So I've talked about it a lot, and I recommend this to people at the shop that I work at if they want, one AR or like what the best first AR is. And I figured we can kind of talk about it. I got a couple different options here. I figured if we're talking like higher end guns, BCM, Daniel Defense, those are both very common. You can get them at most of your local gun stores. BCMs have been a little tough to get recently for whatever reason, but Daniel Defenses, other than their pistols, are pretty readily available. I think a lot of the main companies are still kind of scared of the brace thing, but as of right now, braces are legal, so there's no issues there, but I just haven't seen companies pumping them out. So we're gonna talk about that. I might be a little sunburned. My girlfriend and I did the Spartan Race today. So we did the Spartan Race Beast. It was 13 miles, a lot of fun. I've done a lot of Spartan races over the years. This was my girlfriend's first, and then tomorrow we're doing the Sprint and the Super so that we get our trifecta medal. But yeah, it's the year of the snake, which is awesome. I highly recommend Spartan Race. On a side note, it's just a really good, challenging, like a physically challenging event that you can do. And it definitely goes in with gun stuff as far as your strength goes. So yeah, do Spartan Race. It's a lot of fun. They do it all over the country and all over the world. Yeah, going back to ARs, again, we're talking Daniel Defense, we're talking BCM, but this can go into like Palmettos, whatever your budget is, right? If your goal is to have like one AR that does it all, or just general purpose rifle, right? It could be for hunting, home defense, range shooting, competition. Honestly, like the viewpoint that I've built up over the years is one of the best ones would be just a standard rifle length gun, like carbine gas tube or mid-length gas tube, but just a standard carbine rifle, whatever you want to call it, 14.5, 16-inch barrel. You can go basically as low as 13.7 while still maintaining the rifle status, because as far as like ATF rules goes, you have to have a 16-inch barrel to be classified as a rifle. The workaround that, and it's a legal way that nothing sketchy about it, is you have a shorter barrel and then you have a muzzle device pin and welded on there so that it adds to the barrel length. So with this one right here, this is a Geisley upper. It's on a Brownells lower. I want to source a Geisley upper for it, or a Geisley lower for it at some point. But this one is a 14.5-inch barrel, and then it's got a Surefire muzzle device pin and welded on there, so it's a permanent part of the barrel now, and that legally classifies it as a 16-inch barrel. So this is a rifle, even though it has a 14-inch barrel or 14.5-inch barrel, so I can still have a stock on there without a $200 tax stamp. That is beneficial because paying a $200 tax stamp just to have an inch and a half left off, or an inch and a half less off your gun, that'd be kind of annoying, right? So yes, this is a good workaround for not paying a $200 tax stamp to have a slightly shorter barrel. And the benefits of a slightly shorter barrel is you can add a suppressor on there and it's not as far out on a 16-inch barrel. And if you're wondering if 14.5 is a good barrel length to suppress, like this is still a manageable carbine. Yes, it's a little long, but I mean, within my house, I can move it, no problem. I do have this idea to put a offset red dot on here for the closer range shooting, but realistically speaking, if it's home defense, if it's super close range, I'm under the impression that you can point and shoot pretty well. That's just my opinion. This is a Vortex Razor 1-6, so it's 1 power all the way up to 6 power. If I point and shoot, I can see pretty clear on 1 power. So there's that. Is it long to go around corners? Sure, but when was the last time you cleared your house in a life or death scenario? So can it be done? Yes. And I think it's a great first rifle or first rifle barrel length. Gun-wise, it doesn't necessarily matter. Oh, I said Daniel Defense, but this kind of falls into that category. I have a Mark 18 here and a PDW. We'll talk about those too. But yeah, as far as like a first rifle goes, 14.5, 16, that's fine. I started out with a 16-inch rifle when I was 18, and then I SBR'd it when I turned 21. So yeah. Now, there's going to be pros and cons of barrel lengths, right? Like it's easier to do stuff with a shorter barrel. I like running shorter barrels. You'll see a lot of like me shooting with shorter barrel guns. I get that. But if you're trying to stay budget friendly as best as your abilities can be, right? You do a gun and you can do a registered lower where you pay the $200 tax stamp, and then you could buy a 10-inch upper for it, or a 5-inch upper for it, 6.5-inch upper for it, whatever you want. You can go that route. Or when BCM pistols were a lot more readily available, what I would recommend people do is buy a BCM 11.5 pistol. Now, there was a point in time where these were readily available, so maybe not the greatest right now. But you buy a BCM pistol with an 11.5-inch upper, because that's a really nice upper, and then you can just buy a 14.5-inch upper. So that way you have one lower. It even though it's classified as a pistol, you can put a longer barrel on there. There's no issue there. So pop that off. Let's say you only had the one lower, right? Not two. You could pop this upper on, and then now you have a 14.5 with just the 2 pins. And my thought behind this would be you have them in like a Pelican case maybe. This one's stiff, there we go. So you pop this on here and no issues because it's still classified as a pistol. As far as turning a pistol into a rifle, I can't think off the top of my head like about putting a stock on there, but you can use it the same way. So there's no issues with this. Where the issue comes into is I just took a rifle upper off a rifle lower. If this is not registered, I cannot put this upper on here. Unfortunately, that is one of the, I guess it'd be a felony, right? Like I'm not doing that. But yeah, you cannot put a short barrel upper, something less than 16 inches, on a rifle lower unless you paid the $200 tax stamp and now it's a registered SBR. But what you can do is, let's say you have a registered lower, like you can take a registered lower, so this is a short barrel rifle, and I could throw this 11.5 upper on here, no problem, or the 14.5, it doesn't matter. So I know it sounds confusing if you're a beginner, it's kind of weird, but the gist of it is if you have a pistol lower, it doesn't matter what upper you put on there. If you have a registered short barrel rifle lower, this is not, but let's say you had a registered one with the stock, then you're supposed to maintain the original upper. So if I papered this for an 11.5 inch barrel, if the ATF asks, you need to have your 11.5 inch barrel, but you can temporarily use other uppers. So that is the way I read it, and I've never had any issues with it. So it's a registered lower at that point. So then the thing is, let's say you have the lower all decked out to your choosing, right? You put the trigger you want in there, you put the safety selector, whatever you want, and you have it all set up. And then as far as slings go, you can run quick detach slings. That way you don't have to buy 2 slings. You don't have to buy 2 Geisley triggers, 2 Radiant safety selectors. Like that is the best way to do it on a budget. And a lot of times you can find uppers on a sale. Like we get used BCM uppers at our store. Sometimes they're like $500-600. Now I know BCM's been doing a sale for a long time where you could get a basically almost new BCM for like $500-600, which is cool. They used to be a lot more expensive. The whole guns were like $1,500. So if you can get one for $600, that is a really beneficial way to, you know, have 2 capabilities. If you did a 14.5 and an 11.5, you basically have that option. So yeah, this is a 14.5 inch 5.56. This is 11.5 inch 5.56. The other thing that I would potentially do is a 9 inch Stringer blackout upper from BCM. I actually want to do one of those. So yeah, if you don't want to have multiple guns, I would recommend different uppers, because obviously uppers can get expensive, optics can get expensive. You can even do like quick detach lights, because I wouldn't change optics too much, like taking them on and off, because you would want to verify 0. But as far as slings go, you can change those out. As far as lights go, you can swap those out if they're easy. I have seen quick detach mounts on lights, so you can pop them on and off between guns. You can get creative, guys. And again, I think it'd be kind of cool in like a case where you have the 1 gun and then 1 or 2 uppers. Now, as far as other uppers goes, a 14.5 is good. Now these uppers are very similar, right? There's no magnification. We have a red dot, we have a holographic sight. Probably too close for me to want to do that setup if I was running 2 uppers. But I brought these 2 out to show you. This is an empty mag, but one thing with this is a Mark 18. It's got the 10.3 inch upper. It's a factory Daniel Defense. I have the law folder on here so I can make it very short. So 10 inch short, fits in a bag really nice. Where'd my suppressor go? Oh, it's still in here. If I want, I could pop this suppressor and put it on here. And you see, this would go in a bag really nicely suppressed. And it's shorter than the 14.5. But what's nice about doing this upper with this lower, with the registered lower, is now I have a short barrel set up with the EOTech, and then I have an upper with some magnification for some further shooting capabilities. So you could pop this upper off and then throw it on. And then remember I was talking about slings? Well, this one's looped in, but let's say I wanted to just quickly take the slings off. So it's just a quick detach button. I won't have to change it on the lower because that would stay the same. But I would take this upper off, pop this off, pop it on there, and then now I still have the same sling setup. The only thing that's changed is the upper. And then suppressor wise, you saw I could put this suppressor on there, vice versa, no issues. The other thing is, this is a 7.62 suppressor. So the reason why I have this one out, this one's actually not suppressor ready right now because I have the factory muzzle device on there, but this is a Dana Defense PDW. It's a 300 blackout. 300 blackout's very quiet. If you guys watch my suppressor playlist, I have a video showing off a Dana Defense PDW suppressed next to a Honey Badger and a Rattler. They are extremely quiet suppressed. So again, pop this suppressor off if I have the right muzzle device on here, pop it on there, and then I have a 300 blackout suppressed setup. So same thing, I could just pop this upper off and then put it on a registered lower or a pistol lower. And since this is a pistol lower, I can put all those uppers on there too. So I hope you guys are kind of following with me. It might sound confusing. I'm just trying to help out some of the guys that don't have multiple guns. I know it's kind of intimidating at times. Don't feel like you have to. As far as my thing goes, like I do have an advantage working in the gun industry. I buy stuff pre-owned, so I understand that, guys. And I don't want to come off as like, oh, you have to have multiple guns. You don't. My take is start off with one, build it up. That's what I did when I was first getting into guns around 18. I started off with a factory 16-inch Daniel Defense, built it up over time. I started with just iron sights. I didn't even have money for an optic, but I started off with the Magpul MBUS Pro iron sights, went out, shot it a bunch, saved up. I got an EOTech, all used. The gun I bought new, but the EOTech and other stuff I bought used, and just built it up from there. And then that's kind of what set off my addiction. But yeah, start off small, work your way up. There's nothing wrong with starting off with the 16-inch barrel. There's also nothing wrong with starting off with an 11-inch barrel or 10-inch, whatever you want to do. But as far as lowers goes, you can either register one lower, so you can run it as a short barrel configuration and then run longer uppers, or you do the pistol lower route. So, you know, all over the place now. You do the pistol lower route, and then it's kind of the same thing. The other benefits with the pistol, so there's no registration, at least not in Arizona, but there's no tax stamp registration. You can also travel across state lines easier because it is a little tough to travel across state lines with registered NFA items, so suppressors are included in that. But yeah, that's my take. Again, you're not paying double for triggers, safety selectors, slings. Like you can really make it more affordable. And if you wanted to buy a lower at some point, just buy another lower. But that's my take. I hope you guys enjoyed and got some useful information out of this. Enjoy the shooting video I have for you guys tomorrow. It should be pretty cool. And other than that, wish us luck on our other Spartan races tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for watching and stay tuned for my next video.